So I feel really conflicted about Resident Evil 9. On one hand, it's one of my favorite franchises, but my excitement's been starting to wane. Maybe it's fatigue for the series, I don't know. Make no mistake, this game is masterclass in its design. But it suffers from serious pacing issues that I don't think everyone will be bothered by, even though I was. So, you got two playable characters with this game, Grace and Leon. Grace is absolutely the star of the show. Her acting is incredible. She genuinely sells fear, the hyperventilation and stuttery speech, the physical panic, like it feels real. Gameplay with Grace feels like Resident Evil Village turned up to 11. The environments are insanely detailed. The enemies feel curated, like entire areas of the map were specifically designed to spotlight a new threat. The puzzles are also strong as always. Combat is intentionally cumbersome, but functional. And the map expands as you slowly uncover why you're there. It feels focused, purposeful, carefully constructed. The only real downside is that Grace as a character doesn't really grow. By the end, the constant breathlessness and stuttering speech gets kind of annoying. Leon, on the other hand, is teased early as the experienced veteran. When you play as him, the tone shifts heavily towards combat. Ironically, it makes him feel more superficial. There's almost no puzzles to his segments. He drops puns. He also drops enemies that Grace normally has trouble with, like Candy. It's fun, but it feels shallow compared to what Grace's gameplay is going for. So at about the halfway point in the game, Leon suddenly does become the main character. This is where the game completely lost me. I understand what Capcom was trying to do, evolve from a horror game into action, but it felt abrupt. It wasn't earned. It feels like you're suddenly playing a different game made by a different studio. So much of Leon's section just feels like a retread of RE4. Save the girl, fight tons of enemies, and a couple boss fights here and there. Instead of escalating tension, it became exhausting. I kept pushing forward just to get back to Grace, but when you finally do, the moment has already passed. The story tries to raise the stakes, but I just wasn't invested anymore. Everything started to feel way too formulaic rather than evolutionary. In the end, Resident Evil 9 became a by-the-books Resident Evil game. It didn't do anything new. And because of that, I don't think that I could recommend Resident Evil 9. At full price, there's a fantastic horror game in here, and there's also a solid action game, but the transition between them hurts the overall experience. If you can grab it on sale, you're basically getting two games in one. And there's definitely a lot of game to chew on here with New Game Plus and reason to replay it. But at full price, I kind of feel disappointed. So many games these days end up becoming what I've deemed a one and done. You beat it, and then you're done and you move on. Resident Evil 9 most definitely had segments that I was just thinking in my head, this wouldn't be fun to replay. And in the end, I'm just not gonna bother. It's a fantastic game, and I can see a lot of people rating it as their game of the year. You need to keep in mind that my criticisms are coming as a Resident Evil fan. I'm talking about how this game holds up to the rest of the franchise, not to the rest of the games that are out these days, because Resident Evil 9 is phenomenal.